Hi, this is Shaheedah Hill helping you confidently buy your first home. Tonight, we're talking all about the pending or not pending housing crash, and more importantly, how you can prepare yourself as a first time buyer either way. So, there are two rules of thumb that are out there right now. One, that there's definitely going to be a housing crash in 2021. And two, there's not going to be a housing crash in 2021. So let's discuss it. And I'm going to tell you how to prepare and some creative things that you may want to do as well. So first, if this is your first time here, please like and subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and visit me every week for new videos. All right, so the people that are saying yes, there is going to be a housing crash is saying that because of the unemployment numbers. Prior to the pandemic, unemployment was about 3.5%. Now unemployment's at 7%. And also, a lot of people, 2.3 million as of this video, have their home mortgages on forbearance. So they're thinking that, okay, if people are on forbearance now, they can't pay their mortgages. More than likely, when that ends, their forbearance ends, and a lot of people have a 6-month forbearance. When that ends, it will probably lead to foreclosure, and that will increase the inventory. So a big part of this is if the inventory increases, because the reason why prices are high and it's hard for first-time buyers to find a house is because inventory is so low. So a foreclosure, an increase in foreclosures will help the inventory increase and then bring the prices back down. So that is what they're saying is going to happen. And I think that's pretty much it. And then the eviction crisis as well. So you have some investors that are renting their properties out and they're not able to evict. So when they're able to evict at the end of this year, so the CDC has put in an eviction moratorium. When they're able to evict them, then they're saying, of course, or they'll evict them, and then a lot of the investors that have these properties will also put those properties on the market. So those are all of their reasons for saying the crash is coming in 2021. Now, some of those things are valid. The only thing on the other side that other experts are saying is that when the housing crash happened in 2008 or so, there were 10 million people in foreclosure, that were delinquent on their loans. Right now, there are 2.3 million, so not as many. They're also saying that because of the pandemic, they're getting a vaccine. The vaccine is coming out. That interest rates are still low, so demand will still be there. So depending on what side you're on, you either believe one side or the other, or maybe like me, I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I don't think it's going to be a major crash because, for example, and the majority of my clients are under the 350 price point. So the least expensive home I've sold in 2020 was 138. The most expensive home was like in the mid 300s. So they're all in that, first time buyer price range. And in that price range right now, in the lower end, under 200,000, some people are getting 30 offers on their home. Maybe in like the upper 200s, 280, 290, 300,000, they're getting about 8 to 10 offers on their home. So even to me, if inventory was to increase with some of the foreclosures, that there still is enough buyer demand to cover that, at least at this price point. I think that the demand, and I'm looking forward to for inventory to increase, because then more buyers will be able to get homes. But I don't think it's going to be this drastic reduction in pricing either, because again, people that don't believe there's going to be a major crash, that 90% of people have equity in their homes. 50% of the people, I think I saw in a study, that have their home paid off. So they're going to sell it before they foreclose on it, or they're going to try to sell it before they foreclose on it. There are some people that are going to wait, and then they might have to foreclose. But to say that those 2.3 million, all of them are going to foreclose, I don't believe that to be the case. At least and it could be also area specific, depending on what industries are in your city. So that's going to be one of my recommendations. So my thought process is going to be a little bit in between. That 2021 should see an increase in values, increase in inventory, and prices will probably level off or give people a better opportunity at least to get into a home. However, interest rates are probably also going to go up because people with the vaccine, they'll feel more comfortable, businesses will be back to normal, that sort of thing. So I'm kind of right in the middle there. Also, I want to say that we don't know, nobody's saying exactly because they don't know what the government is going to do. Because prior to the pandemic or right before the pandemic happened, like, as soon as coronavirus started and they were shutting things down, all of these YouTube experts and other experts said we're going to have a housing crisis. And that didn't happen because the government came in with monetary policy, reduced interest rates, and that spurred demand. So a lot of things that we don't know what's going to happen in a Biden administration to say, okay, how can we make sure that housing is, still stabilized, our economy is stabilized, and a big part of that is housing. So all of those factors in, I don't think that it's, I don't think that people that are waiting are not making a smart choice. I don't think the people that are buying now are not making a smart choice, because really when you're buying a home, it's a personal decision. Of course, you want to make the best financial decision. But for example, right now I'm sitting on probably $125,000 in equity in my home, but I'm not going to sell it because truly I believe that home prices aren't going, if they dip, they're going to dip minimally, maybe 5-7%. And then I'm not, I'm in it for the long term. So, and most of my clients are. So when I'm talking to them, if they're like, oh, I'm going to buy this house and I'm going to sell it in 2 years, I do say you probably shouldn't do that. You need to be staying in your house at least 5 to 7 years. So if there is a decrease in pricing, you'll still be able to sell at a profit and not be underwater. So, but in my situation, if I really believe that home values were going to crash and go to 50% like they were in 2008, I'd probably be selling now. And that's the case for, I think, a lot of homeowners, a lot of people in the business. Are they selling their own homes to kind of, take advantage of this crash that is coming? So just be knowledgeable about it. Get your information from credible sources as far as the data and everything. And we'll know the good thing about this, I think that's better than 2008. I think 2008 it kind of caught a lot of people by surprise, but we know exactly as things happen. The coronavirus numbers, the interest rate numbers, what the government is doing, what kind of stimulus is going to happen. So you will kind of know what the impact is going to be to our economy, I think a little bit ahead of time. So how can you prepare? So now we know, like, the people that say it's going to be a crash, yes or no, but how can you prepare either way? Number one, get your credit together. You want to have your credit at the highest possible number, because you want to be able to get the best interest rates possible. Number two, start saving. You want to save ideally 20%. You can avoid all mortgage insurance, but you also can save 7 to 10% and be able to cover most loans and a lot of closing costs. If you haven't seen my video about how to get a perfect credit score, or how much you should save for your house, you can see that. You also should have an emergency fund. And I think your emergency fund, I think we learned in 2020, things can be unpredictable. You need more, in your emergency fund. And I don't care what kind of job you have, you need to have a pretty hefty emergency fund just in case anything happens. So typically people recommend 3 to 6 months of expenses. I would say 6 months of expenses. That will keep you in a good financial position. And then number 4 is get very, very familiar with your local market. You want to know, what are the average days on market? How much did our home prices increase from 2019 to 2020? What's predicted to happen? What major companies may be closing or having major layoffs? I'm in Atlanta, so Delta is a big hub in Atlanta. A lot of people work for Delta. Delta has had some layoffs. Are they going to have more layoffs? Or is that going to impact our housing in Atlanta? So know your local market very well. Start working with a local realtor even before, so kind of keep you in the loop as to what's happening in your local market, because real estate is local. Now, other things you can do. So a lot of people, remember, housing is a personal choice. Like I, moved to this neighborhood and this house because I wanted to be stabilized before my son started kindergarten. So it wasn't, and we had the money at the time, but I think the goal was before my son started kindergarten, we wanted to be in the house that we were going to live in probably long term. So that's why we chose this house. It wasn't, oh, there's going to be a housing something. It was really personal to make sure we were in a stable position so they can stay in the same schools. That was a big factor for us. Now, I want you to consider these other personal factors. Consider 4 things. Consider multi-generational living, like moving in or having parents live with you, other siblings, families live with you, because that's going to, if prices remain pretty high, you're going to, and a lot of my clients are doing this, they're moving in or families are moving in together. So if that's an option for you, you may want to consider that, number 1. Number 2, you need a second stream of income. And I know there's plenty of YouTube videos all about having a second stream of income. If all you have is one stream of income right now, you are at risk, because we learned from the coronavirus, a lot of companies are looking back at their numbers and saying, do we need all these employees? People are doing well working from home. I might not need as much staff. You never know what can happen in your industry. So you want to make sure you're not just relying on one stream of income. So I think in 2021, I'm going to come out a whole nother video, that everybody needs at least one additional source of income. Number 3 is, if you are married, try to qualify with just one spouse. And this is a big thing. I think a lot of my clients, of my married clients, I would say about half of them qualify with just one person, because that's putting you in a better financial position where you kind of can live off of or qualify off of one income. So if one spouse or another spouse income is reduced, you can still afford your mortgage payments. And then lastly, consider moving. And I know this is a big one, but a lot of you live in high mortgage, high price states. And I know I did my video on USDA and the rural areas and those opportunities, but if you feel that your income doesn't match the housing in your state, you really want to consider moving to have a better opportunity for you and your family. Even if it's not out of the state, but it might be a different location because housing is more affordable in that part of town. So I hope this was helpful for you to kind of think about, is the crash coming in 2021? If it is, or if it is not, you want to be able to be prepared for any impending, housing changes. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week.